The Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself as one with the cause and effect within this body, but one who has transcended the illusory energy by deliberate consideration, which clears the misconception of a snake for a rope, can understand that the Paramatma is eternally transcendental to the material creation and situated in pure internal energy. Thus the Lord is transcendental to all material contamination. Unto him only must one surrender. Srila Prabhupada explains. This verse is specially stated to defy the Mayavada conclusion of oneness, with differentiation between the individual soul and the Supersoul. Mayavada conclusion is that the living entity and the Supersoul are one. There is no difference. The Mayavadis proclaim that there is no separate existence outside the impersonal Brahman, and that the feeling of separation is Maya, or an illusion, by which one considers a rope to be a snake. The rope and the snake argument is generally offered by the Mayavadi philosophers. Therefore these words, which represent Vivartavada, are specially mentioned herein. Actually, Paramatma, the Super Soul, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he is eternally liberated. In other words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is living within this body, along with the individual soul, and this is confirmed in the Vedas. They are likened to two friends sitting on the same tree. Yet, Paramatma is above the illusory energy. The illusory energy is called Bahiranga Shakti, or external energy, and the living entity is called Tatashta Shakti, or marginal potency. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the material energy represented as earth, water, air, fire, sky, etc., and the spiritual energy, the living entity, are both energies of the Supreme Lord. Even though the energies and the energetic are identical, the living entity, individual souls, being prone to be influenced by the external energy, consider the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be one with himself. The word prapatya is also significant in this verse, for it refers to the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharma parityaja mamikam saranam vraja. In other place, the Lord says, Paunam janmanam ante jnanavam prapatyante. This prapatye, or sharanam vraja, refers to the individual surrender to the Super Soul. The individual soul, when surrendered, can understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, also situated in the heart of the individual soul, is superior to the individual soul. The Lord is always transcendental to the material manifestation, even though it appears that the Lord and the material manifestations are one and the same. According to the Vaishnava philosophy, he is one and different simultaneously. The material energy is a manifestation of its external potency, and since the potency is identical with the potent, it appears that the Lord and individual souls are one, but actually the individual soul is under the influence of material energy. The Lord is always transcendental to it. Unless the Lord is superior to the individual soul, there is no question of prapatya, or surrender unto him. The word prapatya refers to the process of devotional service. Simply by non-devotional speculation on the rope and the snake, one cannot approach the absolute truth. Therefore, devotional service is stressed as more important than deliberation or mental speculation to understand the absolute truth. The description here given today is very, very important and also very sweet. It actually means that you are a living and walking temple, because in your heart resides the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form as Antaryami, or the soul inside of your soul, the Supersoul, which is the origin of everything that exists, but who has expanded himself into that particular feature because he wants to be with you. He's actually giving you very individual and personal attention because he cares for you, because he loves you. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of course, is in every living entity, which actually means everybody is a potential walking temple. But whether your body can actually be recognized as a temple, that depends on whether you are also worshipping the Lord in your heart and giving him proper attention, or whether you are a rebel who is ignoring the Lord's desires and orders, who he is supplying within your heart in the form of the Supersoul continuously. Through the inner voice, the Lord is always giving us the proper guidance. One of the definite evidences of the reality of this information is that the inner voice is giving the same orientation to everybody in the world. It does not matter whether you are Chinese, Russian, German, South American. If you are asking the voice inside of you of what you should do and what you should not do, the same voice of the same Supreme Lord in an infinite amount of forms will give the same consultation. Do not kill, do not lie, do not abuse, do not misuse. Appreciate the goodness and the best thing. Be a nice person. Be conscious, be compassionate. You can turn any way you want. All people feel from within that this is the proper conduct. In other words, the Supersoul, it does not have any identification with any external planet or country or ethnic group or anything. No, he's giving the same guidance, the same intuition to all living entities. Be good, don't be bad. This is good and that is bad. Now, we are very expert in being rebels against the cause. We are so incredibly rebellious that we sometimes act so much against our own interest, so much incredibly, that we do something which we even know ourselves is harmful, it's prohibited, it's going to bring very negative reaction towards us. But we do it anyway. Just like rebellious, silly children. We know better, but we don't want to do better. So what can you expect from that? Problems. If you go against your own intuition, against your own better knowledge, then how can you expect that something good will come from it? Therefore, to see ourselves, our body, as a temple where the transcendental Lord resides within our heart, of the size of the span between the small finger and the thumb as you stretch them. This amount of size, you can see the Lord is dwelling within you. It's quite substantial size, right? I feel very happy to think the Lord is within me. I mean, whatever size he wanted to have, it doesn't really matter, because he's the Supreme Lord regardless of his size. Because, I mean, in the mosquito, obviously his size is smaller. So he can expand himself according to his sweet will. But the point here is that if my body is a temple and the Lord resides in it, then I should be very cautious what to do with this body. I should be so cautious what to look with my eyes, what to speak with my mouth, what to hear with my ears, what to touch with my hands. The Lord knows everything. He knows not only what you do externally, he also knows what are your intentions. Therefore, the relationship between you and the Lord is 100% transparent, because he looks right through you. You can't hide anything from him. And that's why people are probably reluctant of accepting the Supersoul and worshipping him appropriately, because as soon as they embrace this concept, their entire independence is vanquished. The only thing which is left for them to do is surrender. Like they say, mind your own business, surrender. If there is a Supreme Lord in my heart and he tells me what's right and I'm doing the wrong, then where do I position myself? I'm positioning myself in the criminal line, amongst the people who are bound to pay for their sinful reactions. My creation has not been brought into existence by myself, but it has been brought into existence by the Supersoul, because he's not only the Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, he's also the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, the Karanadakashayi Vishnu. He is time, he is the material external Bahiranga Shakti, he is the Antaranga Shakti, and from him surcharged comes the Tatashta Shakti, which are all the living entities. And only a very silly person could actually make such a declaration as to, I and my Lord are the same. Because it is just an atrocity to claim that I'm my own creator. If somebody says, I am my own mother, mother will not feel very good about that proposal. Says, what do you mean you are your own mother? I'm your mother. You took birth from my womb. And you better accept that, because that's a reality. So to say we are one with God, it is an ambiguous statement which has a certain truth in it, because we are one of his family. And sometimes Father feels so much united with his children that, in the case of divinity, he accompanies each and every one of us as in his personal expansion. But then we think, oh, now I don't have to make anything he wants, because whatever I want, that is also his wish. In other words, total Mayavadi philosophy. Now, whatever is my idea, that should be accepted as final and supreme. So if I don't accept anybody above me, then I cannot understand the Bhagavad Gita at all, where it says, Sarvasya chamri desani vishnu matasmite jnanam aponam cha. Krishna says, from me comes knowledge, forgetfulness, and memory. How can I give myself memory? How can I make myself forgetful? How can I enlighten myself? All these are ludicrous statements. Further, Krishna says, I am the compiler of the Veda. Well, did you compile the Veda and forgot it all? I don't think so, no? And then he says, and I am the one who understands Vedanta. And you understand Vedanta? Obviously it's not you, because you don't even know Vedanta. And by all the Vedas, it is I'm to be known, Krishna concludes. So you think the whole world has to figure out who you are? I mean, come on, come to your senses, my dear. You are reading Gita and you're violating Gita in the most obnoxious and puffed up manner you can reach to. One could say that impersonalism is the utmost absence of modesty and humility. Even though they say, I want to give up my thinking, feeling and willing, I should not desire anything, even though they have to develop a certain piety regarding the material world and material desires, but in the reality, the final thing they don't accomplish at all, which is giving up the false ego and giving up the idea that you are living by yourself and for yourself. This is what it basically means in personal philosophy. I am existing by myself, through myself, for myself, and only it is myself. And therefore I am the all in all. I mean, what a kind of an absence of modesty. We are talking about spiritual humility, and that is a total defiance towards your own creator, towards your own well-wisher, towards your own guru, to everybody. So let's do away with that evaluation of impersonalism. It doesn't carry much value. The only reason it is so popular is because people are so much inclined to this sinful mentality of disobedience to the sweet will of the Lord. But for those who do accept that this body is a temple and that the Lord resides within, and that through prayer, meditation, and puja, like for example, when you worship the deity in the altar, you're also worshiping the Lord within your heart. When you study the Holy Scriptures, you're also glorifying and hearing the glories of the Lord in your heart. When you chant your holy mantras, you are chanting for the pleasure of the Lord within your heart. When you treat well other living entities, you're worshiping the Lord both in your heart and in the heart of them. That is the reality. The Supersoul is always there, always present, always examining your accomplishments, always on top of you, so to speak. It's actually amazing. Supersoul, Paramatma, Antaryami, Chaitya Guru, all glories to you, all glories to your wonderful presence within us. You make our life full of joy. You make our life full of meaning. You make our life sensible, sensitive. You give us guidance towards you. And we, by bad association, do not pay attention and get sidetracked into the world of different perverted attempts of joy without you. Oh my Lord, forgive me for all the misgivings and misunderstandings and foolishness and rebelliousness and whatever I did which did not please you. Be so kind and just oversee it. I'm just a silly, silly little ignorant child of yours, and Father can forgive the mistakes one does. So I pray to you, please guide me and guide those who are dear to me. Guide all of them to the right understanding, to be able to embrace your love. Because your love is unlimited. Your love is present. Your love is all pervading. You are supplying us with everything. You make matter into organic substance. You create food. You create life. You create the chance of us, for us to serve you in your temples, in your country, in this whole creation. And you also allow us to meditate upon your sweet lotus feet and thus purify us when we contemplate these sweet feet as they are blessing this whole world. Sri Vishnu Pad, or in the form of Mother Ganges, who washes your feet and washes throughout the worlds, purifying the worlds from all the sins committed. All the sinful activities, sinful life in this modern world specifically, it is not bearable. How can Mother Earth tolerate so many sinners on this planet doing all their obnoxious activities? It is very hard to imagine, but we see that Mother Earth is very merciful and very concerned with her children. So here we are, my dear Lord, and want to make this body into your temple. We want to give your inspiration, which you are giving within our heart to others. We want to be messengers of your love. Oh my Lord, let others enjoy, rejoice in the understanding of the Supersoul. When you're singing and dancing in the kirtan, what great reason you have to jump and dance in joy. Because the Lord is there within your heart. As a matter of fact, He's dancing also when you're dancing in the kirtan. The Lord is always at your side. As a matter of fact, day and night, He's watching over you. Anything else except the holy mantras, you should shun away from it. Because the holy mantras will purify you, will help you to control the mind. Because the mind is very difficult to control. So we are very happy. Our Sri Guru Deva has so kindly given to us these sacred mantras, like the Maha Mantra, like the Panchatattva Mantra, like the Sannyas Mantra, like the Gayatri Mantra, like the mantras of the Srimad Bhagavatam, like the Kavachas, like Nishinga Kavach. So many sacred mantras, mantras for puja, mantras for offering respect to the Vaishnavas, mantras to honor the Sampradaya, mantras to show us that we are all little servants of the Supreme and always depending on His mercy. You, my Lord, by your mercy, you invite us when you say Man mana bhava mad bhakto majjajimang namaskuru. You invite us to always think of you. You are so intimate with us. You are even tolerating that we are ignoring you, but you are telling us through so many different ways, like the Gita, come on, think of me, become my devotee, relate to me with love. Come on, don't waste your time. Don't run around in this world thinking that you'll be happy at the cost of others, that you can take advantage of the stupidity and weaknesses of others to enhance your materialistic, prosperous position. No, my friend, that is not the meaning of life. The meaning of life is to become more loving. So Supreme Lord, who is obviously in the heart of everybody just as much as He is in our heart, He will not be happy if you harm somebody else. What to speak of systematic exploitation as it is common nowadays. No. So wonderful it is that Lord Chaitanya has come to us to give us a full information about the Chaitya Guru. And he's the Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prashadi by Bhakti Lata Beach. He is that soul in our heart, the super soul, who has watched over us since time immemorial. And when He saw that we get tired of the exploitation and the mistakes, and we pray, my Lord, please help me to get out of here. Then it was Him who took us to our Sri Guru Deva. It was Him to explain and to feel the conviction that here is the person above my mind. Here is the person who can guide me. Here is a person who will give me the solid standards for putting my life into shape and proper adjustment. Should not think that the Guru will work for us and organize all the problems of our life. That is a technical impossibility. But He's providing us the maturity and guidance so that we can advance in our cause, advance in our life very appropriately, and be very joyful executing the orders of Sri Guru. So you, my Lord Paramatma, help me to find my Gurudev. Otherwise I would have been helpless. And still, even after accepting my Gurudev, only by the grace of Sri Paramatma and the Sri Guru external, to both of them Krishna Prema can actually be achieved. So it is so high and so important to understand that your body is a sacred gift. Yes, your hands, your feet, your head, your everything of your body is the gift of the Lord. He has created this body, and we can't really complain. It is kind of a handsome body. It's kind of a useful. If you are doing nice physical exercise, you remain so strong that even when you're old like Paramahansa Maharaj, you can still jump around and work hard like electric, dynamic body. Only when you become lazy, when you're sitting all day and not doing anything, then you become very weak, your muscles become weak, and then you don't even know how to walk. At a certain point in life. Anyhow, however strong we were, at a certain point we'll need a stick. And then after things get worse, we need a wheelchair. And like this, that may be so. In this life, you never know. But the point is here that all is created by this transcendental Lord in his transcendental sphere. And one of his spheres is your very body. So when you chant his name, when you serve him, when you clean your body, when you take prasad, everything is worship of Paramatma. Everything is to make him joyful. He ain't joyful when you eat boga. He ain't joyful when you speak lies. He ain't joyful when you don't get up early. He ain't joyful when you do anything to harm others or anything to make others feel bad. One negative remark which discourages another person, that is already enough reason that the Supreme Lord is unhappy with you. So he's teaching us to be conscious all the way to the last nitty-gritty details of life. Lord Paramatma is concerned to make you a pure devotee of the Lord. He is actually eager that you have devotion, that your heart becomes surcharged with mercy. Because when that is so, when that takes place, then your heart will transmit to you the greatest feelings of love. So devotion, that will make you glorious. Krishna says if you have some love, sincere love, you will be able to understand who is he. You will be able to understand who created everyone. It is only one person who exists by himself and for himself. And that is, he is God. And he has created us, which means that we are for him. We are not for separate enjoyment. We are not for separate empire creation. We are not for forgetting him and concocting some speculative understanding of life. No, we are supposed to be his and to serve him and love him, and he will reveal himself to us and he will take us to his world of love. But if you say, no, I don't accept there's anybody above me, if I don't know who created me, then I will simply conclude he doesn't exist, and therefore I'll stay in this material world. Or even worse and more silly, I think when I die, everything is finished. And therefore I can simply do whatever I feel. And in this way, one is carelessly wasting away his human form of life and going against the Supersoul, instead of worshiping the Lord in the heart and seeing your temple as a temple, your body as a temple, you're treating your body like a liquor shop, like a drug dispensary, like a slaughterhouse, where you make your stomach simply the cemeteries of dead animals, mistreating your holy body to become a place of degraded violence, perversions, sexual abuses. Better said, your body is being raped and hijacked from its transcendental purpose, just to suit your silly mind, which is anyhow always flickering and never satisfied with the results of its own silly endeavors. So, surrender, that is the key here. Surrender to the Supersoul as he manifests himself in front of you in the form of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And as he invites all of us to go to the world of love, as he invites us to be loving here, truthful here, joyful here, vegetarian, dedicated to helping others, only eating the food offered to the Lord, and being a good example, a very good example of love to others, so that you may inspire others and thus also get the right to live an inspired life of your own. Let this body of yours walk around this world as a temple and announce the glories of the Lord with such enthusiasm that even others will come to discover that your body is not a place of selfish ego interests, but that your body is a temple, because in your body, both body, words and mind worship the Lord of love residing within you. And when you make the arctic for him with the tears of your love, or with the sweat of your forehead, to make sure his glories will be spread, then he is very happy, and others will have trust in you, and they may regain hope for their own spiritual life simply by seeing it, hearing it, touching you, or whatever way it will be. A wonderful thing. That's why we try to touch the lotus feet of a pure devotee, so that this grace of this holy temple, which is there within him, may transmit one blessings to us, such as after the Arctic, we are eager that some of the water offered to the lotus feet of the Lord may be thrown upon our head, or when we touch the ghee lamp and we are trying to get this love offered to the Lord to soften our heart, to heat up the spiritual awareness within us. All this is simply utmostly glorious. And therefore, we invite all of you to encourage the whole world to start recognizing the sacredness of their bodies, the sacredness of their mind, the sacredness of their intelligence, the sacredness of their very existence when it is surrendered and utilized and directed towards the sweet will of the Lord. And thus, by accepting this and by putting it into practice, they've already achieved a very high devotional stage of life. And there's nothing which will impede them from becoming a pure devotee if they simply go on acting in this type of consciousness. This is the meditation upon the Supersoul, the meditation about that friend who resides within us and who is always transcendental and not conditioned like we are, not mistaken like we are, not confused ever like we are, and not rebellious against the cause of love, just like we are. So we should surrender to him, harmonize our activities according to what he wishes us to do, and you will see unending wonderful things will take place. Your whole life will be surcharged with a meaningful mission, which will give you at any given instant strength and joy to continue, even in the face of death or other tribulations which come in this material world on their own accord.